It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. I think you can see I'm excited because I love engaging in this kind of conversation because it's opening my eyes as we go. We are continuing our dialogue around International Transgender Day of Visibility. And we are back on the couch with the Executive Director of Gender Dynamics, Matthyse, and this time alongside Greyson Thela from Inclusive and Affirming Ministries to learn more about the events and the initiatives that Gender Dynamics are putting together and participating in, an opportunity for you maybe to find your community. And I'm going to keep using that word because there is a very strong and powerful community. I know you're nervous. Don't be nervous. It's not like the hopes and dreams of the world are resting on your shoulders right now. No, thank you so much for coming out and chatting to us. We've spoken about your personal journey, but I want to talk about your professional journey because you've taken what you want to achieve into a very constructive space with Gender Dynamics. So talk us through your role as the Executive Director of Gender Dynamics and what do you guys do?
So Gender Dynamics is a trans-led and trans-specific human rights organization. And the reason why we are trans-led is because we draw on our experiences as leaders to be able to guide the strategic direction of the organization and the programming that we come up with. So a lot of the work involves championing legal gender recognition, championing access to gender-affirming healthcare, and of course, inclusive quality education for children, transgender children especially, to counter bullying within education context. And then, of course, being able to take access to gender-affirming healthcare closer to communities, because at the moment there is a geographical disconnect, location disconnect, where rural-based communities, peri-urban-based communities are not able to access that level of care because it is situated within urban contexts.
It's almost like you're fighting this battle on three fronts, and there is the deeply personal journey that you're going on. There is the legislative, where you need society as a whole, the laws that guide us to be able to march along, but you also need then people to change the way that they think. And that is a very difficult thing. That's where it needs to be proven through your actions. And I think that's where you step in, Greyson. I want you to talk us through one of the initiatives that you're running with Gender Dynamics, the Wall of Resilience. That's a word that Liberty has mentioned many times, resilience. You need to be able to be strong to survive this journey. Talk us through this initiative.
I think the word resilience really speaks for itself. You know, as vulnerable communities, particularly trans and gender diverse, we've always found ourselves on the back foot of quite a number of things, systematically, politically, socially. So it requires resilience for you to keep on keeping on, because it's a tough journey. Not only are you fighting legal, law reform, but also some of the foundations that manifest, or rather transphobia and homophobia manifest from. And the Wall of Resilience, basically, it's about stories of trans and gender diverse persons, how they verbalize their lived experiences, and they actualize themselves. Because for a very long time, we've always had people speaking for us and assuming that this is what we want and this is who we are.
And it's great to have an advocate, but
exactly.
You need to believe it.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to verbalize it so people can actually see the steps that you take within this particular journey of affirming yourself, whether it be through gender-affirming healthcare or legally.
How important is it for someone going through that process, that journey themselves? And I keep using the word process because there is such a transformation in that space. How important is it to hear other people saying it, to know that someone else has gone through that journey with you?
It's quite unfortunate that voices multiply when it comes to injustices.
Yeah.
But I think what's very important is that we've, as a collective, realized that there's more that needs to be done. We need to fight for our existence within society. We quite often talk about cisgender privilege, and that's privilege that people who align themselves with the sex assigned at birth have. And unfortunately for trans and gender diverse persons, that puts us on the back end within society. So we're in it together, but it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, no, completely. And I mean, we've gone through that with, and this coming from a white guy, going through the Black Lives Matter process, trying to get a person to understand what's really at the heart of a discussion like that. And of course, you're quick to jump to a generalization, but it is a deeply personal understanding of self that you've got to go through to get to that point. And maybe this is an opportunity for people to be able to connect and identify with people who have gone through that. So how do people submit their stories to the Wall of Resilience to have their voice heard?
So with regards to that, we've got an email address that we would like to share with the viewers, which is community@genderdynamics.org.
Got that on screen right now, yeah.
.za. And so if you are keen on sharing your journey, your narrative, please get in contact with us through that channel. Alternatively, if you want to know more about the organization, please do send an email or go to our website at info@genderdynamics.org.za as well.
Just very quickly, while I've got you here, Greyson, someone who lives this space, what advice do you have for someone who is struggling at that darkest hour? If you could take yourself back to that moment that almost broke you, what do you want to say to them?
Look, it's a journey. You know, no one can impose their own journey on you. So you should take it easy, take your time. Because gender and sexuality are on a constant continuum. You know, today you might affirm as something else, tomorrow you might affirm as somebody else. So you need to take yourself and immerse yourself in the journey and love the process, because you're affirming who you are, who you truly are, and not what the world has told you you are. So you embrace the journey, and sometimes it can affect one's mental health. It can affect quite a number of vulnerabilities within your life and within your own body. But like Liberty said, you need to seek help. You're not alone. There are multiple organizations that deal with mental health, that assist you in that journey. And of course, the advocacy that various organizations do, including I Am, as well as Gender Dynamics, assists people in that process. Sometimes it might just be something as giving a pat on the back, that it's okay, you know.
It is okay, you are okay. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. You did great today, man. I don't know why you were nervous. You were awesome. And it's great to have advocates and platforms like this talking about it, but maybe now is the time for you to take ownership of that. That is the human narrative. Find the person that you are. You can connect admin@genderdynamics.oeg.za. And for the Wall of Resilience, if you want to have your voice heard, you can email community@genderdynamics.org.za. Thanking you both so much for coming through today. What a pleasure to chat to you today. And right now, though, of course, we are heading into the top of the hour, so time to get those news headlines in.